Why are you saying that? Hey, I'm live. That's weird because YouTube is saying, sorry, live chat is currently unavailable. I don't know if you can see that, if anyone shows up. Huh. I'll have to rewatch and see if you can see that. Interesting. Wow. I did not turn off the chat. I don't do that. Um, just more strangeness with my life. So I was going to continue today's earlier live stream. And again, I don't know if anyone will see this because of the frequent uploading in the last 24 hours. And I want to talk about that briefly, just so anyone that might be irritated by it or confused by it, I can let you know what's up. I'm playing with my algorithm. I'm trying to figure out I know that my analytics tells me the best time to upload and when my audience is watching, but I wanted to see when the algorithm pushed my videos more, like which ones got more speed quicker. And it doesn't more trajectory, I guess. And so I'm trying to upload a variety of different shorts at different times to see how they do, because I'm playing with the idea of monetizing just a short channel with just animals and things like that, because that seems to be something I could conceivably do. In the area that I'm in, I have a lake close by too, so that's an option. Anyways, that's why I'm doing that. I'm trying to figure out the best times for me on this channel, this small channel, to upload videos to gain the most momentum, I guess. The other thing is I have the feeling, and I've had the feeling for a long time, that my internet is looped. Every device that I've bought has been taken from me for a period of time or stolen, and then they're offended when I bring it up or mention it or I call them on it. It's like, what are you doing with my devices and why is it hooked up to yours? Or, and I'm paying for these services, which is really stupid. And basically, so I'm paying to be abused and I'm paying to for these things to go wrong. And anyways, I hope that somehow, some way, the videos get out to people who might benefit from something I have to say. Not that I'm a great speaker or anything like that. I have some anxiety today because I was just going to do a continuation. And as I was sitting here typing it, like as I was sitting here, I feel like the Holy Spirit was like, no, you got to write a few notes real quick and write this down so that you touch these points and you don't forget them and get off on some other, sidetrack. Um, so we're going to go with the title first. I'm going to talk about what I was going to talk about at the end of the other live, which is AI showing us ourselves. This is one area in where when I talk about how refinement, how suffering ends up being like a good thing, almost like how you get a diamond from refining a piece of coal. It's the same type of idea. So I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm nervous and I don't know why. Um, anyways, that's one aspect in which all of this is a good thing. If you've seen any of the AI videos, and I don't seek them out, but people do share them that I follow, and I like to support their channels and give it a view. If I can't contribute money to like everybody that I watch and whatnot, the least I can do is subscribe to the smaller channels, leave a comment to, push it in the algorithm and like it. And so that's what I try to do. Um, and so some of the videos, some of these AI videos, how do I put this without offending everybody? Some of them are a mockery of what it is to be a human being, especially the like real fit mom and the real fit dad, like the Ken and Barbie thing, and then they have like the God loves me T-shirt, and they're all real base in a bad way, and there's like no core, there's nothing inside. It's just like a shell. And you can tell as you watch it, you're like, man, it gives you that really deep, uncanny valley feeling. Like you get like you get on a roller coaster, like you just get that sick feeling in your stomach, like, oh no, this isn't good, this isn't good, right? Almost like panic. That's the way in which it's good. And I know that sounds strange. It's showing us who we are, right? Which is weird because I believe that there are lower level energies attached and traveling through our frequencies, the Wi-Fi, the channels, the invisible channels that are running through the air that hit our devices and run through our devices. And if you end up with a chip, it'll run through you too. And you already are a water, electric, light being. Figure that out. How are you not constantly being electrocuted if you're made of water and electric? Everything we've been taught is so special. Anyways, with AI showing us ourselves, we can stop taking ourselves so seriously, maybe, right? Like, not everything is dramatic. Not everything is a big deal. Not everything is something, oh my, like to lose your mind over, right? And the other thing maybe it shows people is what it looks like to be a materialist, like just about the physical and there's nothing inside. Because think about it, AI is creating things that it sees, through like the lens and whatnot, and that it's fed, that we feed it through our conversations. This is why I've told you the last few years, be careful with your comments. Your comment sections are a ministry too, right? That's a ministry as well. So you have to be careful with how you're speaking, so that maybe we're teaching this AI energy, these frequencies traveling through it. Maybe we're teaching it how, something, a better part of us instead of the worst part of ourselves, if that makes sense. Um, but it's showing us that we appear to be empty, right? Maybe. But it can't put soul into anything. It lacks that. So if you see these videos and these Ken and Barbie type graphics, and how it constructs its conception of what it is to be human being sentient, and it looks like a mockery, right? It looks like a mockery, but it's like, it lets you see yourself, and you're like objectively, like outside of yourself, right? Very few people can get outside of themselves and see from above, like, oh my gosh, this is what I've done. I feel like that's what illumination of conscience is, and that's what it's doing for me, is showing me like the worst parts of myself and helping me to rein in like poor behaviors and things like that. And I'll talk about a short story time in a moment that relates to that, because all of this is connected at this time. All of these things I talk about, they're all related. And it's best to decide where you stand now before things become mandatory, or what's the word I'm looking for? Essential, right? Before something becomes life or death, decide where you're going to stand right now, and work off of that. Prepare off of that. Work, build towards that, from that, if that makes sense. Live chat is still unavailable, and I'm not sure what's going on there. And it doesn't look like I can fix anything or change anything. No. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't have anything checked or unchecked that shouldn't be there. See if that helps. None. Let's see if this will do anything. Comments are still saying, sorry, live chat is currently unavailable. Hopefully the video is getting recorded. Like, I don't know what's going on. Anyways, I'll keep going. I'll just keep pushing forward. Thank you for being here, whoever you are. I appreciate you. Sorry, it's so lame. So in this way, we can learn from AI and see ourselves, be outside of ourselves, and see what we can look like at our worst, and maybe our most shallow, maybe what materialism has done to us as a society, even if not individually, if that makes sense. So in that way, AI is being used to our good. That is a way in which you could say God is using something that they want to use for wicked. God is turning around and using it for good, to refine us, to show us what we look like at our worst moments, and what materialism has brought us to. And how we can appear shallow and empty on the inside. Um, so that's that part of the video. Now, we're gonna dwell in like the monetary place for a moment, money and whatnot, because it seems to me there's a lot of things going on. Okay. I heard a story on another man's channel recently that a business that him and his wife had patronized or patroned for many years, right? 17 years, he said. And they had sat there and they knew the waitresses and waiters, and they live in a small town. And they're, a couple of them own land, right? So they're very close and tight knit. He said they went for dinner the other day, and I think I shared the video on the channel. He said they went for dinner the other day, and there was all new people there. All new people there. Nobody at the bar. No, there was no bartender. Their food came out in like 5 minutes, super quick. And immediately everybody went to, oh, and the gentleman that they spoke with, he said he was a man of color. He said, which is fine. He said, but we just don't, there's no one around here that is of color. We have no families that have been around here for that long. Um, and I don't know what's going on. And the first thing everybody went to was like, this is a parallel dimension. And the first thing you have to remember is don't believe everything that comes out of Google, ChatGPT. Just because this thing spits out an answer does not mean it's true. It does not mean it's factual. It does not mean it's gospel. Okay? I have gotten into arguments with my family over things that I know to be true and other things that I know to be ridiculous. And they have looked it up and I have looked it up and they've gotten different answers than me from Google. And I have went into our text messages because you can do that if you share Google Mail and stuff, and I've seen where they were changed. Now again, I don't want to go demons, demons, demons or something like that. I don't know exactly what's going on in that arena. But I do know that things are going on, and you should not automatically jump to like parallel dimension, this, that, or the other. One thing you have to be concerned with right now is military taking over land and resources of private citizens. They are allowed to do that. I forget, and I was looking it up last night, and I still forget the name. Maybe I should look it up so I don't mislead anybody. They are allowed legally by law in times of war to come and take land and co-opt land from American citizens. The Nazis did it all the time. And this is why, like right before war, you will see, and you're seeing it now. And I told you this a couple years ago. I did a video on it somewhere on the channel. When you see like big artwork, like important Renaissance, important cultural artwork go up on sale, they are liquidating and they are moving their assets. The Vatican has what it has because it was entrusted to preserve that portion of history. If they just let everybody storm the gates now, we lose all of that. All right, is the first thing. But they are allowed, hold on, military name for taking citizens' land during times of war. I forget what it's called, so I don't want to misinform anybody. Requisition or expropriation. A mandatory demand by a belligerent state for the temporary or permanent use of property is a requisition. Expropriation is the compulsory acquisition of private property for public use. That's a little different. That would be like FEMA type things, I think. Military occupation, the temporary control exerted by a military force over a sovereign territory. So citizens, if there would be an invasion, regular citizens like you and me would not be made aware of this right away. They would try to do it, honestly, with the least amount of casualties to private citizens. Number one, because they want you to like them. They're coming into your country. They want you to be easier to control. They want you to do what they're going to say. So they're going to try and not like interfere with your daily life until it's impossible to like not tell everybody, hey, like we're here, this is what's going on. You need to do this, that, and the other. Now, let's see. Public use in the United States, the Fifth Amendment requires that any taking of private property be for public use and with just compensation. Military necessity. International law also allows for the destruction or seizure of private property if required by imperative military necessity. So during any type of military occupation, um, either side can like co-opt your land and use it just for their troops, for where they sleep, where they eat, where they do their laundry, basics. If you have a farm, they will take over your crops, right? And they will eat those and pass them out to their troops, and that's how it happens. But this man who had went out to dinner at this restaurant, again, that he knew all the people at. Another thing that needs considered, and I've talked about this in my area, and again, this is why another reason that I'm disliked, but it's quite obvious that certain people are gone. Like the excuse so and so is in Florida, like just doesn't fly anymore. Like according to these people around here, everyone that owns anything is away. That's not cool. Nothing is getting fixed. Court cases are way backed up. They're not legitimate. I couldn't get a proper copy of my marriage certificate. Um, I got my license renewed without going anywhere, without a new picture, just with a phone call. I could have been anyone. And I got it renewed online. Like I don't know what's going on, but it's not the norm. And so the best thing people can do is to have skills. You need to really hone in on what you're good at and also what you're passionate about. That way in this time, think with a more entrepreneurial mindset and let that carry forth also into like a survival mindset. A proper skill set will take you a lot further than money or cryptocurrency. That stuff is going to it's bondage. It is complete bondage. There's a reason it's crypt is the root word there. This is not good. It's not going to any place good. Why do you think they're finding like old iPhones in the ocean and at all these like ancient sites and whatnot, like in the like buried really deep, like they were from the flood? Because they're not new. And they were during the flood. Everything went away. God flooded everything. Like this right here is probably witchcraft. The fact that we have it, we probably shouldn't even hold them, use them, nothing. And if you're going to use it for this, for something to connect with other people. And again, everything that our enemy has came from God first. We have to think of God a little differently. God created things with just a sound and frequency, and that is very technological. And angels sometimes have been heard, and their wings sound metallic. So, like our concept of what is going on in the heavens and in the realms we can't see probably needs adjusted too. The younger generation is right about that. Like certain things need change. Just because they've always been done doesn't mean they should continue to be done. At the same time, this younger generation, my children's generation, was highly indoctrinated. Some of us had no idea. They were highly trained. I mean, it's like Harry Potter type stuff. Like I don't even know how to explain most of it, and I still am at a loss for some of it. Like, why was my one son wearing World War II regalia for a Christmas party, and the other one was in a purple top hat? Like, I can't no more with this garbage. And you shouldn't either. Like, you should be tired of all of these games and deciphering their codes and this, that, and the other. We should be talking to each other. We should be gathering. We should be starting smaller communities. This is our land. This is our inheritance. And the sooner everybody learns about personal sovereignty, the better. You shouldn't want any part of technology put inside of you. If somebody can hack a computer or an ATM or an app or a phone, what's going to happen to you if they hack you? and because you have a chip now, and there's a database now, and everybody's on a cloud, so everybody's sharing like a giant locker. Does that make sense? Would you put your neighbor's money in your safe and your money in theirs? You don't know that person like that, do you? But we should, though. We should be in smaller communities with elders or people that assess situations, right? We've really lost a sense of order, and it is a time of lawlessness, and there are things going on right in front of people, right in front of you, that you're not seeing because you don't want to see them. And willful ignorance at this point in time is only going to bring people to harm. And I'm not joking about that. You need to learn what sovereignty is and free will is, like, immediately. And you need to, you should be saved in this time, because spiritually you need protection. Not everybody can afford like tech toys and all this stuff to like counteract what's going on around us. So you've got to pray over yourself. You've got to use the word like God did to create. You got to use the word to create a shield, a spiritual armor around yourself every day. Every day. And you've got to immerse yourself in skills that you're good at and you're passionate about. If you're good at carpentry, learn how to build a whole house for people. You know how valuable you'll be to a smaller community if you can build everybody a tiny house? Do you know how valuable that would be? Or eat what is that called? Bushwhacking? That's not the right word. Wait. Hold on. Oh, geez, I watch them all the time. The camping ones where, you bushcrafting. Yeah, those shelters. Um, if you're good at canning or making jelly or jams or teas, um, or liniments, paste for people's injuries, we need to go back to foundational skills. That is the only way. And again, this is not going to affect just poor people. This is going to affect people that want to just maintain some sense of self. If you don't want to be a part of their chip cloud nightmare, then you need skills, and you need better spiritual armor to walk this out. And you need a spiritual family to have people that are praying for you. Like when you pray for the church, you're praying for the whole church. That's powerful, whether we're physically together or not. Where two or more are gathered, there he shall be. But immerse yourself in these skills. That alone will help you spend less time on these. Because again, there are strange things happening right in front of us in real life. It's not all just on the screen. And I think that's the most important thing that people need to grasp. Because videos can be edited now. Anything can be done on a video. I don't believe any video now. It's really hard for me to believe them. But I'm very good at observing people, and you should be at this time too. There are a lot of, I don't know what's going on spiritually, but there are a lot of people acting. They even call them bad actors. And it's like I was telling you a little bit ago about my personal life, everything that I try to poke a hole in is like I knock right over. Like everything that I try to tap on a little bit, I poke a hole in. And what I mean by that is like everything's phony. Just like the ID. That's not legal. How are you gonna not require me to come in and get a new picture 5 years later? And I can do this online, and you believe that I am who I say I am? And I don't have to prove I am who I say I am? If this is how people are being, do you want these same people in control of the chips that are going to be put in your bodies? Everybody is negligent now. And I worked in food where it should be basic understanding of certain things, and I just don't understand. Somebody explain this to me. And it is like we're dealing with spirits of juveniles. Like something has happened and everybody is on this juvenile wavelength. Even politics. has turned there used to be a little, I mean, it's always been fake probably, right? Because Reagan was an actor. Every president's been an actor before he became president. It's just another role, right? But it used to at least have some type of, they wanted you to have pride in your country. They wanted you to be, behave or whatever for your, society. They wanted a well-behaved society. So even if you have to, like, I can understand, even if you don't believe in God, the tenets that come along with, like, don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie, like, those produce a well-behaved society. And certain people need those rules to stay in line. So the law-abiding people don't get harmed. The Bible even tells you that the law is for the sinners. And something has happened now. I don't know exactly what, but it seems to me, I don't know if it's because I declare aloud that I am sovereign and like I give that to God, like I give my free will to the Lord. But it seems to me now, and you know how like I've talked about before, how my videos seem to have a butterfly effect. And I don't know if they're just using my old videos and that's why they won't give them back to me and they're using them on these content farms at TikTok to make money or whatever. I didn't consent to that. I never consented to anything like that. Or if it's a natural spiritual thing, or if again I'm Truman and people are watching me on TV screens or something. I honestly don't know what it is. But whatever it is, the messages are getting out. And no matter how small the topic seems or how small the audience seems, I'm going to keep, speaking on certain things because once you speak about it and get it out there, it gives it a certain momentum, right? Energy. The word, speaking the word, it gives it power. And our words do have power, but there seems to me we are in a time where God's children are free. What do I mean by that? All these walls are falling down. Everything's, we're noticing how phony things are. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know why the skills are falling down for so many people. And there seems to be an expiration date. We talked about this in one of the videos. There seems to be an expiration date for the firmament itself. So if that's the case, um, whatever is happening, it seems that God's children are free to move. I haven't tested it myself yet because, again, I am not you and you are not me. My situation's rather tenuous and it feels different than other people's. So I try not to give advice or whatever. But when the Spirit makes me write something down to talk about it, I make sure I talk about it. God's children seem to be free. And who are God's children? Well, we have to stop looking at skin tone because that's not what defines God's children. It is tribe by tribe, and there are 12 tribes, right? Skin tone has almost nothing to do with that, especially in the time that we're in, because nobody knew their tribe and everybody mixed, and we were advised not to do this by the Lord. We are also advised not to argue over family lines, over bloodlines, but we are advised to know them and understand where we fit as far as that goes. There's a reason for that. Every name in the Bible has a meaning, and so every tribe name also then has its own meaning. But it seems to me that there are certain people at this time that are free to move in a certain way, and they aren't being bothered by pretty much anybody. Um, and so this is why I'm telling you, use this time, this pause that the Lord has given us, and get a skill set if you don't have one. Learn to fish, and it's very relaxing too. And you can feed yourself and others that way. Uh, Learn how to make traps, learn how to, be a carpenter, learn basic sewing skills. I used to love making pillows with my gram. I loved it. Learn how to mend socks, just fix a little hole in a sock. That'll take you to so many places because then you can fix a zipper, a backpack zipper, a coat zipper. These are things we should do because we've lived a life of materialism, and that is coming to an end, whether we want it to or not. And if you deny yourself now before things are ripped from you, it's a lot easier and you'll be blessed with spiritual graces. And again, I can't guarantee that, but I've seen it in action. When you give up, when you sacrifice these wicked habits that you don't need anyway, the Lord gives you back your spiritual eyes, your ears, the joy in your heart comes back. So God's children seem to have a freedom to move about right now in a way that not everyone does, and you should take advantage of that and get to where, talk to the Lord, ask him what tribe it is that you are from if you don't know. I'm sure he will lead you on a little journey to get you there. Every tribe has its name written on a gemstone, and so that's where we get birthstones from. You might be led to a certain color, a certain gemstone. You don't know. I don't know. But again, this is something that immediately before I started this video, I was impressed to talk about. Um, so God's children and the tribes have nothing to do with skin tone at this point. It is about tribes and it is about DNA, but those tests are being used in nefarious ways. So I don't have one on myself. It is a good way to find out certain things. People say DNA doesn't lie, but man does lie. And man is the one who gives the results. And so if you have an enemy, and if you're a child of God, we all have an enemy, um, then that could be used in a nefarious way against you in a court of law, for example, right? If they have your DNA, they could suddenly, it's easier to frame you for something that way. And that's persecution. That's why do you think they call it prosecution, right? Everything here is a mimic of the heavenlies. So please don't scratch my bed, little girl. So I talked about AI showing us ourselves. And on that note, I want to end with a short story time. Little girl, please stop that. Chai Weenie, I don't have the squirt gun. Please stop. Hold, please. And what I mean by showing us ourselves, somebody here showed me myself, and I did not like what I saw. And I'm just going to briefly talk about it because we are not just responsible for ourselves here, and targeted individuals probably are closest to understanding this more than anyone at this point in time. People who are feeling spiritually targeted, and that goes also along with conscience, and it also goes along with a type of purgatory here on earth. You're being purged, right, of the darkness within. For me, I am, the yin yang is exactly who I am. Like I have in my bloodline, my mom is really dark, and my dad's line is very fair because they're French, and my mom's we're not sure about. Um, she looks just like Sitting Bull. I mean, my mom, her picture looks just like him. It's weird. Anyways, so I have both, and I have that dark wolf that I've got to like either starve or give into and like let the steam out every now and again. And so I thought that it was okay at this time. This was when I was working at the pizza shop, and it was probably about a year ago. And I had stopped at the Mexican restaurant. I went to get a chili relleno to go home. And they were this old man that kind of follows me. And again, these people follow you. I don't know what the deal is with that. And he was trying to pressure me, peer pressure me into voting. And these people, like I still have to read you guys that book on here, but voting is a cult in America. Like it's a religion, and it is of occultic nature. It is very occultic. I know. I never agreed to join the cult, but I'm in it. I'm not in it, but like I'm surrounded by it. They want you to pick side so badly, and they want you to vote, and they want you to donate, and like if you're not doing all these things that they're doing and you're different than them, well then you're like a black sheep, or there's something wrong with you. And it's ridiculous, but anyways, one of the other old men that follows me around 2 days before this, he had said, what do you think about God? If you fall back into sin, will God forgive you? I said, I'm no expert. I said, but I believe God is forgiving. We all struggle here, and not we're told we won't be sin free while we're here. And I didn't really, I don't know the answer. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a seminarian. I'm trying to get through this just like everybody else. So then 2 days later, I'm at the Mexican restaurant, and I'm at the point still where I'm thinking I can have like 2 or 3 beers. Like I'll be okay. Well, they're trying to bully me into voting. Next thing I know, this young man, Pedro, sets a shot on the bar and he says, "Here, this was bought for you." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I wasn't even thinking. Because I was in debating with this old man and I kind of wanted him to just back off. And I was like, "Why is this so important to you what I do? Why do you care about me so much? Like, do what you're going to do." Right. Um, and so I didn't even pay attention and I started drinking. That was the last time I drank, but I had fell back into my sin. I was like a dog going back to its own vomit, as the Bible says. And I still feel horrible about it. Like, I don't know. And in the old text that we were reading, it tells you, like, back in the day, when people converted, they would do a public confession of their sins, they would be baptized, and then if they fell into sin again, there was like this debate about whether second repentance was even if you were allowed to still be a part of the church. And so, even if you're not religious, just stay for a minute because this might help you when dealing with other people, okay? Because I'm talking, it's a personal moment, but it might help you if you're ever in a similar situation and dealing with peer pressure when it's coming from both sides. And I'm telling you this for a reason because we are in judgment. We're being judged at this time. All of these things in America are happening right now because the one who created all of this is allowing it to happen to bring us to a point where we are operating and functioning in the manner in which we were created to, in a loving, nurturing, more childlike way. God has been like aging me in reverse since I've been saved. He's taken me back to kind of like a childlike wonder. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Some of it has something to do with trauma as well. People say I don't talk my age, and that's okay for me. But anyways, I had fell back into drinking that night. Um, and I want to say that while I am responsible and accountable and I feel like crap for it, we are all responsible for tempting each other as well, right? They knew that I was not drinking like that anymore. I had specifically said numerous times I don't drink strong spirits anymore. And they were watching me, several of them. And I was lucky I made it home safe, I thought. But point being, is we are in a time of judgment and it's not just coming from above, it's coming from our peers and it's coming from people who are already in the country. They talk about sleeper cells, and spiritually speaking, like, there are a lot of sleeper cells here, and there has been. I've said that since day one in my videos, that there is a Trojan horse and they are already here. So we're not just being judged by above, we're being judged by the people around us. The worst thing we could do at this point is to be turning on one another and tempting one another. I might be wrong for having fell back into that, but I should have never been in that situation. And I should have never been tempted by my own neighbors. And I should not be tempted in my own home. Okay, so now I avoid going out anywhere. I avoid dealing with people to get away from that, right? Avoid temptation, as the prayer says. And I sit at home and I avoid people because most people either want to drink or they want to, use substances. And I'm staying away from all that. I'm abstinence and whatnot as much as possible. And in my own home, then I got to deal with drinks being brought home all the time and being tempted in my own home where I pay to live. It's not good to do to each other. I am guilty, yes, if I give in, but they are just as guilty. We can't keep pushing each other into the ditch and thinking that that's okay, because we are being judged by people here who judge very severely and see us already as gross, infidels, useless eaters. They do not see us in a good light. Now is the best time to be a new you and to work on yourself and to take advantage of the pause that we seem to be under. Now, dates you want to watch for, obviously the 4th. But if I'm right and if this pattern holds and it's dates that are important to the original spirit of my spouse, then I would advise you watch out for July 14th. That's Bastille Day. It's a Masonic day. I never knew that. My dad, we always celebrated our family reunion on Bastille Day. So anyways, I am actually at war within with my own self, and so are all of you. We need to do better as a species, but as a group, and create community again and connect with one another without the screens being in front of us, and not be afraid. This land is our inheritance. We cannot allow them to start like deforestation and lumber projects in the national parks. We can't allow it. Like, if you're going to protest anything, you've got to protest that. There's not too many people here. We are not overpopulated. You know, I'm seeing things in catalogs and stuff that I've seen since I was a kid. How many extras do they make of a product that just sits at some warehouse that we never even see or use? And it's leather. How many animals are killed that their skins and their leathers, that it's a sacrilege because it's never even used? We have to step out of this. Come out of her, my people. That's what we need to step away from, is the materialism, is the system. And I know it's scary and people don't want to hear this. They don't want to know this truth. Ask your spirit. If you meditate or if you pray, whatever one you do, okay, if you talk to God, whatever your thing is, higher consciousness, your higher self, ask it a couple questions for me. That's all I ask of you from this video. Ask it, am I living in the way I am meant to be living? Ask that of yourself. Ask your conscience that. Am I living in the way that I am meant to be living? And then ask it, how am I meant to be living? We are living in a way that is in total opposition to the way we were created to be. People think that it would be terrible to live in like shacks and like to not have like the stores and the lights in the city. You don't know because you've never experienced it. If everybody had a yurt in Hawaii, do you know how happy people would be? Without all of the angles around them and living in boxes like we're little rats in a maze, with all the cities that look the same all the way across the country. The city planning, it's like somebody just took a stamp and made a bunch of, we could not have picked, like, as far as generations go, we have no beautiful architecture of our own. We've created nothing that's going to last. We've observed. We're good at observing things. Learn a skill, become a valuable asset, to become a commodity to a community. But wake up your heart too, and wake up that conscience. Stop laughing at other people when they get pushed in the ditch. Stop pushing them in the ditch. Have some basic human dignity, respect for yourself and others. Stop making fun of people. Like, adults have to stop bullying other adults. Do you know how bad that looks to the children? Do you know how poorly that comes off? You really don't want a whole nation full of WWE fans. Like, I love wrestling too. There's a place and a time, though. We got to stop the madness. We got to stop giving it our attention. We got to turn it off. You are never going to meet any of these politicians. They're never going to like wash your car. They're not going to buy your groceries. They're not going to cook your dinner. Turn it off. Don't be stressed. Learn a new skill and then learn another. And then leave as much of the system, come out of it as much as possible. But you need to do it quick, because they're gonna shackle people to it real soon. And that's what crypt. They're gonna put you in a crypt and attach you to the blockchain. And back in the day, that's how they referred to slaves. Working on the chain gang, blockchain, and they're gonna enslave people all over again. God has freed us many times. It probably keeps happening because we got to stand up. We got to say, no, this is madness. We didn't vote for you. We don't want you in charge of anything. And I think that's it for today's video. AI was showing us ourselves. God's children seem to be able to move freely right now, responsible for tempting one another. And the dates that you should watch are obviously the 4th, the 14th, and the 17th, 7/17 as well. So watch the 4th, 14th, and 7/17. All right, so the 4th is supposed to be Independence Day. If the pattern holds and everything stays inverted and flipped and inside out and upside down, Independence Day might just be some type of lockdown day, or lose your Independence Day. Something might go into effect shortly that day or shortly thereafter, okay? Might be Sharia law. Get ready, ladies, you bet. And this is what I'm talking about when we're responsible for tempting one another to sin. Try to be modest. And it just comes off bad. I know. I was that person. I know. And I'm still like, when it's hot, I'll wear short run-in shorts. Like, men need to be responsible for their eyes as well, right? But it needs to be a group effort. And we can't just want to end people. Like, we're so, I don't know how everybody's mentality sunk back down to like holy wars and end this person because they don't agree with me and I hate you and you're different than me. So you must be an NPC because there's like, just stop it. Stop. Worry about yourself and what you can do here to improve your experience and everybody else's. So, and then the 14th is officially Bastille Day. And that was a Masonic thing allegedly, which I'm on the fence about. Like, I agree partly with like Bastille Day, but I don't agree with like beheadings and that. I'm just not that person. So I don't think you should ever have to come to like, I just think it's barbaric and we should be beyond all those things. But anyway, I would watch that day for like some type of prison thing because Bastille was a prison. So it's very possible that this Bastille Day, if the pattern holds, especially with the Pope opening the prison doors and you're seeing all these pardons for people that did some wicked things are back on the streets. It's very possible that in some way Bastille Day will be another loosing of the prison doors and you'll see another wave of prisoners released in some manner, spiritually or physically. So that's all for this video. I'm sorry that it cut short when I was in the park. It would have been fun to get through everything real quickly and just sit there, but that's never allowed here. And I didn't turn the chat off. I don't know why it's like that. I didn't do it. It just says, sorry, live chat is currently unavailable. I never turn it off. I like the conversation. You guys have a blessed day. Stay prayed up. Oh, and the bird is like, he is not on the porch anymore. He's over in some leaves. I'm trying not to mess with him because he's a fledgling and he might be learning how to fly. However, at the same time, he could have hurt himself considering where he's at. Like, he's not anywhere near the nest area. Like, he's all the way on the other end of the house, and I don't know how he got there. So I'm hoping he's not hurt. But the Audubon Society on their website says not to mess with them. If they're just learning how to fly. So I'll give them a little while and see, what happens. Anyways, I love you guys, and we'll talk more soon.